Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on this email, reading the email, and bearing with me through all of these videos that I've sent out this week. So this is going to be the last video in my free content series to my email list, which is you guys. So again, thank you so much for signing up to the email list. I promise you it will never be a spam situation. It'll only be when I have to, want to share different things with you, just like this, and just like maybe let you guys know about cool stuff that I'm doing or giveaways or anything that will benefit you guys. So just don't worry on that. But this is going to be the last video in this little email series. And for this video, I wanted to talk about progress and how you can track progress and the different ways of progress and just different things like that. So if you have bought phase 1 or phase 2 of my BFit Blueprint program, training and nutrition guide, I do talk a lot about this and the different ways to measure your progress. So when you go on a fitness journey, the first thing I want to say is the main thing that most people lack is patience. And it's so important to have patience and to really practice it, especially with your fitness, within your fitness journey, because nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens as fast as we ever want it to. And it's really hard, I feel like, when you're on your fitness journey to be satisfied, because you always want to be better than you are currently. And I think that's a totally fine mindset to have as long as you are realistic with it. So that kind of ties into make realistic expectations. So I get a lot of people who are like, I have this event in a month and I want to lose like 20 pounds. Something like that is not a realistic expectation. It's not a smart goal to have, because the main thing is you want to make everything a lifestyle change. If you think about it as, I have this event and I want to get where I want to get at, by this specific date and time, if you have that mindset, once you're done with that, you're going to be like, okay, I'm done. Like, I can go crazy. I kind of relate this back to competing. So if you guys don't know, I competed twice. I've been through preps more than twice, but I backed out of some of them just because my heart wasn't in it or my body wasn't responding. But if you think of competing and getting on a bodybuilding stage, people, get ready for this event for, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, however long it is. And then once they're done, a lot of people struggle with staying in control, I guess you can say. Is a lot of them are just like, oh, I'm done, and they just like, go crazy with the food. They just are so burnt out that they don't want to work out anymore. Again, I'm not saying everyone, I'm not saying only competing, but this is just something that I've seen happen with a lot of people, and they gain all the weight back, and they're even unhappier than ever. And they could just get depressed, and it gets in this like crazy cycle, and then they continue to yo-yo diet, and then they're like, all right, I'm gonna start prep again, or I'm gonna start dieting again. So when they diet and it's just a constant negative cycle that you just don't want to be in. I think it's so important to really find your balance with fitness, and I never want you guys to isolate yourself and to think of it as a short-term fix or a short-term goal. And although I'm doing an 8-week challenge, I don't want it to be like, here's an 8-week and then that's it. I want you guys to learn for yourself why I do the things I do, why I'm making some changes, but I also want you to still live your life and to make fitness a part of your life. And it's like, yeah, you can do these 8-week challenges, and you might want to make some changes in a certain period of time. That's great, but you need to be realistic about it. You need to make a smart goal, and I really want it to be more of like a stepping stone into making it the rest of your life. So I never want it to be like an all or nothing, or do this 8 weeks and then like just forget about it. You really need to find a way to enjoy fitness, nutrition, training, everything like that, because if you're not excited or happy to do something, or you're like killing yourself in the process, you're not going to want to stick with it, and it's not going to be a long-term thing. So I always say with everything, like, if you can see yourself doing it the rest of your life, then you're fine. Similar to nutrition, if you can't see yourself counting macros the rest of your life, you don't have to count macros. Or like, you know, let's say like the Atkins diet or something. I don't know, something crazy. If you can't see yourself eating like that the rest of your life, then don't do it. Or like keto, which is a really big thing now. I don't know anything about, like, I don't not know anything about keto, but I don't know exactly how to do it because I've never been a fan of it. And for me personally, I know that I could not follow keto the rest of my life. Like, no. So it's not something that I would want to do short term because I just know I wouldn't want to do it the rest of my life. So with that being said, you need to make sure that this turns into a lifestyle change for you. You know, people ask me too, they're like, oh, I have this event. Like, is it okay if I, you know, what about untracked meals or cheat meals or alcohol? I don't think anything is a cheat. I don't think anything is bad. You know, if you have a wedding to go to the wedding, drink some alcohol, don't count your macros. Like, I don't want you to be miserable just because you're like, oh, I'm in this 8-week challenge. No. You know, like, even if you want to have a date night with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you can have one night where you're not tracking macros, where you know, have a glass of wine, you have some dessert. Like, it's totally fine. It's not going to ruin your progress. You want to be smart about it. You don't want to eat like a whole cheesecake or like 3 bottles of wine, you know, 1 glass of wine, things like that. Like, there's ways to get around it. Just be conscious of listening to your body, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. You know, I want you guys to make this a part of your life. Like I said, I always want to emphasize that because I don't want you to be miserable. And if you're a one-on-one coaching client of mine, or you can ask any of my one-on-one coaching clients, I encourage them to go out and don't track macros. Like, I have people all the time like, oh, it's someone's birthday and we're doing this. Like, I'm getting anxious that I can't track macros. I'm like, girl, do not track your macros. Go to that wedding. You need to have a good time. Eat some damn cake. Have some alcohol. Like, whatever. You're gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Or just anything like that. You know, if you're traveling, it's gonna happen. That's life. You're not gonna be perfect all the time, and you don't have to be. You don't have to be perfect to make progress. You can still make changes, and I want you guys to enjoy yourself doing it. So there's my little spiel on that, as I just rambled on for 8 minutes. But I did want to talk about progress. So with progress, let's first talk about the scale. So as you guys know, the scale is not the be-all, end-all. It's one way to measure progress, and if you are a client of mine or if you are in my 8-week challenge, I am going to ask you for the weight on the scale. So there's 2 ways to measure your weight on the scale. There's do it once per week, always in the morning, before eating, after peeing. You know, if you poop too, great. Nothing is TMI. You can tell me when you don't poop because that's an important, you know, that can affect your scale weight. But it's either once per week, the same time each week, in the morning, you know, minimal clothing after you've peed. Or if the scale does not drive you insane, because I know for some people it might, if the scale doesn't drive you insane, you can weigh yourself every single day and take an average of the 7 days. That's more accurate than the other option. But if you just get crazy over the scale number, then don't do it every day. So I'm the type of person that I know my scale, like, you know, I know the scale is affected by so many different things, and I could be up like 5 pounds one day and to be down 7 pounds the next day. Like, the scale weight can just be crazy. So it doesn't bother me when I see, you know, my scale weight every day. So I prefer to weigh myself every single day and then take the average. However, you don't have to do it that way. So the thing with the scale is it's a great measure of progress, because if you're losing weight, you're going to be, you know, most likely losing fat. If you're gaining weight, you're going to be gaining fat and muscle. So yes, if you are going for a muscle gain goal, you are going to gain fat. It's really hard to build only muscle. Actually, it's impossible. But, you know, you are going to gain weight, you are going to gain fat. You want it to be controlled. So you don't want to lose a ton of weight at one time. You don't want to gain a ton of weight at one time. So this is why it's important to kind of have the scale as, you know, one measure of progress. But again, there's so many different things that can affect it. Your sleep, the amount of water you've had, the amount of sodium you've had, if you pooped, if you are getting your period, your hormones, your cortisol, just so many different things can affect the scale. Like, I promise you, everything can affect the scale, which is why we also focus on measurements. I personally really like to focus on photos, as long as it's in the same light, the same type of photo. Photos can kind of be deceiving, but as long as you have it kind of, like I said, the same type of photo in natural lighting, then they can help a lot. Because a lot of times I can see people and they are like way leaner, and the scale isn't moving at all. So it is possible to lose fat without losing weight. But again, so those are different ways. You know, how your clothes are fitting are another great way to measure progress. So if you have a pair of jeans and all of a sudden they're like super loose on you, then yeah, obviously you're losing fat. And you might not lose it on the scale, but it's there. You're losing the fat. Another thing with the scale is you can be losing fat, but like I said, you can be not losing weight. So there's different ways that this happens, but it does happen. So that's why it's important to not get hung up on the number on the scale, because there are so many different things that affect it. And a lot of times, like, you see yourself every single day. So that's why, like, having someone like me check in, have you guys check in with me, having someone like from an outside perspective, I can see the changes in some of my clients that, you know, from 4 weeks ago. Like, they might not have lost a lot of weight, but you compare picture one to picture now, and it's completely different. And it's just crazy, because I'm always like, they're like, you know, I'm getting super discouraged. You know, I'm not seeing much progress. And I'm like, stop right there. Look at these pictures side by side. And they're like, holy crap, you're right. And I'm like, I know. So like, I know myself. If I'm in prep or something, I cannot coach myself, because I just drive myself crazy. So that's with progress. Like I said, there's so many different ways to measure progress. You don't even have to weigh yourself. You don't have to, you know, measure yourself. Sometimes you just go by how you look, and how you feel is so important too, because you can just feel so much better just by starting your fitness journey. You know, whether it's gaining muscle or losing fat or whatever, you just know you feel better. I know for me, like, if I'm like trying to lose some fat, I know when I feel lean, I know when I feel better, and I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, wow, I feel super lean today. I'll take pictures, I look leaner in the pictures, and then I'll jump on the scale and it's like the same weight, like the same exact weight. And I'm like, okay, who cares? Like, no one cares about how much you weigh. They just don't. They just look at you and they're like, wow, your body looks awesome. And it's funny, because a lot of times you'll tell people how much you weigh and they're like, no way. Like, I tell people how much I weigh and they don't understand. They're like, are you serious? Like, I'm like, yeah, who cares? No one cares. So that's everything on measuring progress and making it a lifestyle. So if you are doing the guide or the 8-week challenge, I want you guys to ask questions, because I think a big problem in the fitness industry is with coaches, they either outsource their coaching, which I've never done in my entire life, which means they hire someone to answer their clients' emails, and they take on a ton of clients at a time, and then they can't even handle it, and so they hire someone. For me, I personally like doing it myself. I know if you guys are trying to work with me, you want to work with me and not someone else. So I would never outsource my coaching. This is why everything is limited spots for me and for my coaching. But I always suggest to my clients, I want you guys to ask questions. Yes, it's up to you to check in with me weekly. I can't email everyone and be like, hey, send me your check-in. It's just not possible. So it's up to you. You hired me for a reason. Send your email, send your check-in. I will always answer your email within 24 hours, most likely, 48 hours max. If I don't answer your email me again, or ask in the Facebook group and be like, is Brittany alive? Because she hasn't answered the email. I will never not answer an email. Not only that, but I think, like I was saying, a problem with different coaches and challenges and people in the industry is they are hoping that you'll kind of be a client for life. And for me, I am a natural born teacher. I want to teach you guys why I'm doing the things I'm doing, why I'm changing your macros the way I'm changing them, why I'm not changing your macros this week or anything like that. I want you guys to ask me, you know, I don't understand why you're doing this, or, you know, just ask me questions, because I don't want you to be my client for life. I love you so much, and I love connecting with you, but I think everyone has the potential to really reach their fitness goals on their own. And that's really what you should be hoping to do. You should be hoping to learn all of this yourself so that you do know what to do, and you do know how to bulk. You do know how to build muscle. You do know how to lose fat, and you won't have to hire someone the rest of your life. You know, you want to learn for yourself so that you can do it. And let's be real, no one knows our body better than we do. So for me, like, yes, do I hire a coach when I'm on prep? Of course, but it's like no one knows my body better than I do. And I know I've struggled with learning my body, and like I've struggled with being more in tune with my body, but when it comes down to it, we just know ourselves better. You know what I mean? Like, I know when I'm getting my period. I know when, you know, I know when I'm bloated. I know when I eat something and it's not going to agree with me. Just like different things like that, whereas a coach won't know that. They won't know all of those little extra details about you. So I do encourage you guys to ask questions. Maybe we can do some live Q&As in the Facebook group throughout this challenge. I think that would be a really great idea, and then I can answer all your questions at one time, and you guys can all just join. That's a really great idea. I'm gonna do that. So make sure you're in the Facebook group. And again, just ask questions, because I want you guys to learn for yourselves so that you can do this on your own, so you don't have to keep hiring people and spending more money. So yes, I think that's it for this last video. Thank you guys so much for watching all of the videos and reading all of my emails. Again, I will only send an email if there's any information that I want to share with you that will benefit you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much. Don't forget to register for the 8-week challenge if you want to do the check-in option. And don't forget to buy phase 1 or phase 2 before the sale ends. So by the time you're watching this, you probably only have a couple more days left to register or to buy the pre-sale. So do so ASAP. I will see you guys next time. I love you so much. Bye.